Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Oh, yeah, we've been missing a couple of days, and the reason for that is basically because, well, we had to have an office turnaround, sort things out inside, upgrade the mic for starters. And, well, if you're just joining us, we are back. So, if you wonder why there was all the big gaps between words there, it's mainly because of the fact that I've just had to check what the levels were with the microphone. Now I've turned the monitor down. So, yesterday, on top of tidying up and things like that, it was a bit of a busy day, and the reasons for that were basically I had to renew some memberships when I went to Durham Trains of Stanley, and I collected the new Daypol O-Gauge Austerity locomotive, and of course mine is in LMR, Longmoor Military Railway livery. While I was there, I picked up a few other things that are needed, like, for instance, these telegraph poles, which are needed for the N-gauge layout. As I've said before, we model in various different scales. And when I was there, I noticed this. I had no intention of looking for anything like this. I saw this pack, and I went, this is going to work great. So what's in it is basically, packing crates, drums, barrels, sacks, all that sort of stuff. Now, then all for one thing, it occurred to me, we'll just try and open this up, get rid of, actually, we won't use the scalpel, we'll just pull it apart, there we go. It occurred to me, well, actually, this will work for a number of the different projects that we have on the go. So as you know, for over the last, if you've been joining us over the last few weeks, been building or modifying wagons and building kits of tanks and all numerous types of things in relation to my military railway. And this had 3 sets of sprues, and on it there are, well, let's have a look, there's like packing crates, sacks, we've got the wooden drums, like cable drums, that sort of thing, larger crates, barrels, some crates with what appear to be bottles inside, beer or wine drums, and more larger crates. And it occurred to me, well, this is great because I have a lot of Era 1 stuff as well. And I've got the wagons, which are, obviously goods and things like that. And it suddenly occurred to me, I thought, hold on a second, there's beer drums on there, wine drums. There's the crates with the bottles in. There's packing crates. I thought, that's great. Be able to use them for the Era 1 stuff as well. But then obviously the cable drums, the metal drums, and some of the crates and things like that, and even would work for the military wagons as well. So I figured I'll pick that up, and I believe it was about £7.75, and I get to gluing these together and then paint them up and things like that. And I thought, that's ideal. They're going to work for both. They'll work for both layouts, but I don't think I'll be able to cross them over because I think the way in which I'm going to paint them may actually put a sort of flaw into that. But either way, I'm going to start with the beer and wine drums. Now, yes, I've upgraded the microphone, which might be a little bit obvious. I don't know. It might not be obvious, but it probably isn't picking up the music like we were before, which, the music was royalty free, so it was okay. However, come next week's lives, maybe even this Sunday's with the brick build. It'd be interesting to see who's going to join us for the brick build on Sunday. We're actually building a big boy, American big boy locomotive with Lego style bricks, mock build, if you know what I mean. So that should be a big build. But hopefully next week the mixer will be fixed. We will have excellent audio for both background music as well as for speech. Does make a lot of difference, I think, if that's all working. I have to clean up these drums. I think this was a good buy. If there'd been more, I didn't see any more. There was just this particular one of this particular pack. I think I might have bought more because I think it certainly looks like a very good value pack. And obviously, I've got some milk churns and things from a Dapol Kitmaster pack that I picked up a while back. I've got them over to one side. So you can see out of that set, there's these barrels. They're a different size. So that'll be all right. It's just going to show a little bit of variation. And out of that Dapol set is the milk churns. So with all of these, that should work out really quite well. I think I'll have to have a look out, see if I can get another one of these Nightwing sets or kits, depending on how you want to put it. I've used some Nightwing stuff in the past, but I can't remember what they were now. Just checking all of these. If they've got bits of sprue on, I'll clean them up now. Then I'll get to gluing them. And then once they're all glued up, I can go into paint mode with them. But at the same time, I'll look at assembling, say, the oil drums and things like that. They could come in very handy for the military, train and railway. What else have we got coming up? We've got the tram builds. Still waiting for some components to arrive for that, which is why I've been sort of like it's been delayed. I had hoped to have got that started this week, but obviously we had the issue with bolts and things that arrived all the way from China and only turned out to be the complete wrong items that they'd sent. Nothing like what I ordered. So that put a delay on there. Managed to get some replacements for them. They're not perfect, but they will do the job, or hopefully will do the job. I actually went to a major brand, or major chain, let's say, of DIY equipment and stuff, and they didn't even have the bolts I wanted. I couldn't believe it. That department sort of like it just had lots of stuff. It didn't have a lot of the same things in different sizes. I was thoroughly disappointed. But I went to what you call a traditional hardware store. You know, those ones you sort of look like you've stepped back in time. That sort of place. Went to one of them, and they had something which was usable. Might need a little bit of modification, but it was certainly closer than one of these big chains. It just didn't seem to. Couldn't quite get my head around it. I thought you're meant to be so more efficient, but obviously not. So let's straighten this camera up. What's going on here? It looks like it's on the drink. So what we got right today, as usual, the glue of choice is the Liquid Poly by Humbrol. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but I have got a link in the description for Humbrol. And yes, it is an affiliate link, so I'll just let you know that. Not sponsored, I pay for all my stuff. But the affiliate links, at the end of the day, you don't pay more. We get a little commission. It helps the channel by basically be here and do things. I've had some wonderful comments on the main channel videos from 2 years back and things. Actually, no, I lie. Videos from way back in 2020, for instance. Stuff that was actually put together during the lockdown. Anyone remember the lockdown? Well, for instance, somebody commented on the water tender, second water tender for the auxiliary water tender, if you want to call it that, for the Flying Scotsman that constructed, saying that they finally got together a lot of the bits in order to do it. That was a good project. I've still got it. It's still in use to this day with Aidans Thomas Flying Scotsman that we custom as well. That is another one that we made. We put smoke deflectors on it, changed transfers, upgraded motors. Yeah, I said German smoke deflectors, didn't I? Yeah. So we put those on, and then we put on the face, which is a official face for Thomas and Friends of Flying Scotsman. Certainly not the Hornby one, but we put that on, and looks great, especially with the second water tender. Obviously matching the paint as well, and that was using 2 older style tenders and a lot of kit bashing. It wasn't hard, it wasn't easy, but it was exactly a hard project to do. I would say it was certainly involving the cutting. It was not suitable for children. But if you have an ordinary Flying Scotsman, you want to have an auxiliary tender, you don't want to pay out the prices of silly things. It's certainly an option. I can also tell you that NIU models 3D print both the water tender, auxiliary water tender for Flying Scotsman back then, and for Bitten. There are variations, there are differences. Flying Scotsman tender actually, once over, early, mid, late 90s, the body for that water tender, the actual top, not the chassis, was at Tanfield Railway, just as you enter the Marley Hill site. I've actually got some photos of it there, still in its blue and grey guise back then. Actually, you used to be able to just, as kids, you used to be able to just walk through or climb through that tender, through the corridor. And then it disappeared. It suddenly took off, went somewhere. The rumour that I heard at the time from someone who was volunteering on the site was that somebody was after the tender for some reason. I don't think it was rescuable. It had some really horrific holes in it in places. But not long afterwards, Bitten ended up with the auxiliary water tender, and I don't believe that was you. That is the one. It's certainly not, because it's different. But I suspect it was used as a good basis, something to work from. But otherwise, I don't know what happened to it after that. Like I say, it used to be there at Tanfield as you entered the Marley Hill site. I might have to dig out the photo somewhere of that tender. You could still just make out on the side. Obviously, it was in the blue and grey, all really very much faded, but you could just make out still the Flying Scotsman. I can't remember if it was Enterprises or Services. I think it may well have been Enterprises on the side, all very faded. now that would have been a huge thing. If I saw that now, I'd be like, whoa, that's a piece of history. You know what I mean? And back then, at the time, it was more of a case of, oh look, there's the second tender. Didn't think anything of it. Now, you sort of look back and you think to yourself, that should have been somewhere. That should have been even as an artifact. So if you do know what happened to that, let me know. Like I say, it was just the body. It wasn't the chassis or anything. It was just the body. Maybe it was cut up. Maybe bits of it were used to formulate a tender or second water tender, potentially forbidden. But I don't know. Certainly, Tornado would have been very, very early days. Very, very early days. So I'm moving on to the steel drums or metal drums. Glue them up. So like I say, just over £7 this kit of pieces. And obviously I haven't built it yet, but it certainly looks well worth it as it goes for accessories and components to be used or could be used on the model railway, even on a diorama. It doesn't say exactly what scale. It does say that it's suitable for 00HO, so it could be somewhere between 176 and 187. Yeah, I think I might have a look out for some more of this kit, because it's certainly, those drums there, perfect for going on to, well, kegs even, whatever you want to call them, beer barrels. Definitely good for the flat wagons of the Era 1 trains or wagons that I have. So just have a little quick check, see if there's any flash that needs taking off on these barrels. Obviously I can clean them up after they've been glued as well, but check them out, make sure there's nothing too horrendous on them. So the airfix tanks, they're all dried, they're weathered, except for one, the Cromwell. I think it was the last one we did. That one has been given its varnish. I haven't put any washes on it yet. But that is just over on the shelves there, on the project shelves at the moment. And over on those project shelves as well are two pre-owned, I believe, O-gauge kit wagons that have been built. One in one plastic, one looks to be sort of a resin. Actually, could possibly be a metal kit. Obviously, I haven't got it to hand, so I can't really check right now. But they are looking at a repaint as well to go with my newly acquired Longmoor O-gauge Austerity. So I could well be on the lookout for some O-gauge kits as well as the N and the 00 in the future. At the moment, I'm focusing on the military one. We've got lots of that done, the train that is. So we want to press on with it. Next week we'll be putting the axle boxes and things for the Lomax back on. Be putting the water department transfers on the ones I can anyway. Those that I can't, I can do them at a later date anyway. But I want to get them back assembled. Hopefully the new wheel sets for them will arrive shortly, so that we're not running the plastic ones over the rails. It'll sound better, they'll run better, and well, this is the idea anyway, and they're less likely to put plastic residue and things like that all over the track and just generally making it horrendous cleaning it. At least that is the plan. But I've had this mic now for easily 5 years, and I think I've used it once on a live, and I think I might have used it for some voiceovers over the years, but so little, I would say, that's why I can't remember. And it was just looking back at one of the lives we'd recently done that I suddenly went, no, do you know what? We've got to put the other mic back on, because that sound, the sound was awful. It was manageable. For me, it was awful. So, but that's probably got more to do with the fact that I spent so many years in the entertainment sound, audio visual industry, live performances, that sort of thing. And I thought, no, I know I'm quite happy with sort of like budget things, but I thought that just sounded awful. So if you are just joining us, don't forget on Sunday we have got our American big boy brick build. Join us for that. It is huge. It is massive. Obviously it's not built yet, but it is even the size of the component pieces, like in the packaging, this thing looks huge. I think it's going to be, I suspect, in excess of a meter, maybe less, but to me it certainly looks like it could be in excess of a meter. And well, that is huge for a Lego train or Lego type train. I think that just it just looks incredible, the size of it. So if you're available, if you're around on Sunday, just want something to kick back and watch as you chill out on your Sunday, join us for the big brick build, big boy brick build. I mean, it's huge, and it's going to be massive. Is the only way of really putting it. And you'll get to obviously witness myself suffering from Lego blindness, as I like to call it, when you're looking for a part and you just can't find it, yet it's staring at you right in the face. I'm sure lots of you have suffered from that yourselves. So I want these drums to actually stand up. So I think while we're gluing them, I'm going to try and get it so that they do actually stand up. Rather than leaning to one side. Good old all the barrels. I mean, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of various different kits like this that you could purchase. This just happens to be one that, like I say, it was there. Didn't intentionally go out to buy it. It was there. I saw it and I went, you know what? That is going to work for a number of the projects. So, giving it a go. They seem to be good mouldings. They certainly look to have good tooling. There's not a lot of flash on them and things like that. See if I lie that one on its side. Bring it over here. There we go. You can see that drum. Let's bring it back up again. There we go. And I'll move the camera there a little bit. So that's the goal today is going to build up some of these. There's all those wooden packing crates as well, and get some of them glued up, painted up. Try not to have them stuck to your fingers. There we go. I'm going to struggle with the not having them stuck to your fingers bit. I certainly... There we go. Some just want to be a pain. I'm just going to try and see the tweezers. Just that they're not great for this job today, but I think they might help out in some respects. With my fingers sticking to everything all the time. Just need to check something. Just have to excuse me just one moment. It's one of those things where sometimes what was that? And I start searching around just in case there's something wrong. And I've just had a quick look there on the CCTV because just checking there wasn't anybody there at the door. I think in my case, I think it's more to do with the cat again. Although the cat is probably very upset today because I have shut the office door. So I won't have her coming in and scratching away at the chair, basically saying, come on, leave these models alone and show me attention, or basically be the cat's slave. If you've got a cat, you will know what I'm on about. We are there to serve them. Well, nothing's changed in thousands of years. I think the Egyptians were like that as well with the cats. So yeah, these are, I would say the details really quite good. For something so basic, they are ideal. I do beg the question sometimes with some kits like might like this as well. With like these drums, you put them two sides together and you ask yourself, yes, right, that gives you something to do. It becomes a model, it becomes a kit. But why? I am pretty sure that you could manufacture tooling, which would manufacture that as a one piece, and you just had to cut it off the sprue and paint it and then cut it off the sprue. So if you know the answer to that, get back. Something that amazes me, and we could, I think we'll put this down as a rant. Yeah, we'll put this down as a rant. Oxford diecast, Corgi diecast, and numerous other diecast manufacturers who manufacture models, for instance, of cars. This year, the Chevette and the Cavalier were both announced to the public and released to the public for sale in 1975. They are 50 years, their 50th birthday this year, right? Obviously, most people of a certain age will remember the Chevette, and most people certainly remember a Cavalier, but will they remember the Mark I Cavalier? Which effectively is an Opel Ascona with the Opel Manta nose or front end grafted onto it, which gave you the Vauxhall Cavalier. Neither Corgi or Oxford Diecast have produced the Chevette, or I believe anyway. And as far as I'm aware, they certainly haven't produced the Vauxhall Cavalier Mark I. I did approach somebody at one point from Oxford Diecast. I don't know whether it was a rep or whether it was someone who held a better position. I don't know. And I remember them saying, oh, well, you've got to look at the tooling and will anyone buy it? Well, I hate to tell you this. We have two Mark I Cavaliers. And one of them is the oldest known surviving Mark I Cavalier in the UK. It actually came off the production line in 1975 in Antwerp, Germany, which is where the first batches were built, not in the UK. Now, this isn't oh, look at what we've got. This is confirmed. This was investigated by the Vauxhall Heritage Centre. The head of the Vauxhall Heritage Centre. And I've got the paperwork in front of me, but we can prove that another Vauxhall Cavalier Mark I that was claiming to be all kinds of spurious things. I think it claimed to be the only one in signal yellow in the world, which was proven to be completely false. You can actually see photos of the sign in front of that car saying it, and you're thinking, do I need to ring up the funny farm? Are you okay? On top of that, claimed to have been one of the cars from the Earl's Court Motor Show, which we later proved there's absolutely no way on earth it ever was, unless it was fitted with a good old Doc Brown flux capacitor. And why is that? Well, because we have a copy of the build sheet for that vehicle, and it actually tells us the exact day on which that vehicle left the production line in Antwerp. We know the correct engine number for it, gearbox number, everything from that build sheet. So we also know if there's anything else a little bit spurious about that vehicle. But I do believe the term a fraud comes to mind, as in, obtaining good service, monies, or fame by form of deception. There's loads of spurious things that it's claimed to be, that one. But and lots of other stories to go with it. But we've got these two cars. So I went off on a bit of a tangent there. I get quite emotional about it. We've got these two cars, one of which is a 1978 1.9 GL automatic. And that one was actually at the Practical Classics a number of years back for the Cavalier and Chevette Club. And as part of a demonstration, it was then acquired by my brother, and it had a full down to the metal paint job, restoration, everything, and it looks stunning. I absolutely love driving that when we do the car shows during the summer. Now, my question is, why do Corgi or Oxford Rail not produce the Vauxhall Cavalier Mark 1? They produce loads of other 1970s and 80s vehicles. In fact, the Cavalier Mark 1s were regularly seen throughout the 90s. And I can prove that because my brother actually had one as a day-to-day driver back in the 90s. Used to see them still floating around back then. So they cover across, the Mark 1 at least covers over 2 to 3 decades of modelling. And I don't quite get it. I remember the conversation I had with the gentleman from Diecast was, well, you've got to build a tooling, and is it going to be sales? Well, I know how tooling works. I'm not daft. I've spoken to enough people in that industry, and so you can make variations of vehicles, for instance, or trains, things like that, by having the tooling sectionalized, so that different bits fit, different bits come off, different bits go on, and you can produce the variations rather than having to have entire changes of tools. And one of the things that I can tell you is that, as at the beginning, I pointed out, the Vauxhall Cavalier Mark 1 is basically 2/3 Opel Ascona and 1/3 Opel Manta. So you could effectively make 3 different vehicles from one set of tooling with just a variation of tooling. That means you're not just making a Vauxhall Cavalier, you're making an Opel Ascona, you're making an Opel Manta. I mean, the variations in all 3 anyway. I mean, you've got to think about it. The Opel Ascona and the Vauxhall Cavalier, for instance, came in 2-door. They came in the 2-door, 3-door, and 4-door. So you're going to have so many variations. Why are you not making this? I mean, people get upset about locomotives and rolling stock that aren't being made. Why are the model companies not building, for instance, these cars? Now, someone once said to me, they said, oh, well, they probably can't get the licensing. And I turned around and I said, well, that's actually something like horse manure, because we know fair well that Corgi has produced, and Oxford Diecast as well, have produced Vauxhall vehicles, whether that be the Astra or even the Cavalier Mark II. We've got one of them, incidentally, as well, a GLS Mark II Cavalier, fully restored as well. So it can't be. It certainly can't be a Vauxhall thing or an Opel thing. I don't get it. I mean, I actually said to the Oxford Diecast fella at that time when I spoke to him, and it wasn't at a show. He was in a model shop. He was there. I was introduced to him, and I remember actually saying, "You're more than welcome to come and scan our Mark 1 Cavaliers if you want something so you can see up close and personal. You know, it won't be as hard as you think. We'll happily let you 3D scan them." But at the moment, trying to get a model, especially 1/76 scale, or any scale for them, is really difficult. There is someone who has made some resin Mark 1 Cavaliers, but I'm not going to lie, I've seen the photos close up. They might be wrong a different person. They're damned expensive, and at the same time, they just don't. There's bits about them that just don't. They don't look professional in some cases. I mean, they'd be all right if you sort of squinted or stood at a distance. This is why I'm not mentioning the personal individual or company that actually produced them, because I don't want to name some. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel when I saw them. So my question to both Oxford Rail and Diecast, I very much doubt you're going to see this video, but if someone out there sees it, hears it, whatever, what do you think the reasons are? Loads of people have them. We're at car shows all the time, and the amount of people who come up and say, "Oh my God, my dad had one of these. Oh, I had one of these back in 1980 something or 1970 something. My one was blue, mine was gold, or you know what I mean?" So it's not a case of it's a car that no one had. There was absolutely tons of them. So I don't understand the logic behind some of these the manufacturers and why they won't produce certain vehicles. I really don't. But you know, it is what it is. You've got to sort of work with it, haven't you? It would be lovely. You're more than welcome to come and 3D scan ours if you want to, Hornby or Oxford Rail. I'm more than happy to allow you to do that. You can even use our number plates. But I just, it's one of those things I just don't get it. So if you've got the answer to that, people, get back, let me know. We've gone off on I'm going to call that an Aidans Railways rant, or should we call it the Retro Rides rant, because obviously those cars feature on our Retro Rides channel quite a lot. We'll be out this summer again, as usual, thrilling people, making individuals happy. Quite an interesting story as well, actually. Once someone we know had their classic car at a car show one summer, and he didn't bother to lock the doors. A lot of people like to be able to look in the cars. We have the windows cracked open a certain amount so that we let air in. They're not too hot when we go back to them. People can then sort of peek through that gap in the window if they want to see the dashboard and the clocks and things like that. And this friend of ours, he left his vehicle and he went to, he went to do something, went to have a look around, things like that. He come back and stood outside his car and he looked into his car and saw two people in the back seat, male and female. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he opens the door and says, "What are you doing in my car? What are you doing sat in the back of my car?" And they went, and this is no word of lie, this went, "We're reminiscing." Now, you take that as you will. Does that mean they were reminiscing about being children, sitting in the back seats, as most children did back then, or even the boot in some cases? Or are they talking about some kind of other memory? We'll let you be the decider on that. So now we keep the doors firmly locked on the cars when we're at shows. For everyone's safety, health, and well-being, I believe. But yeah, I mean, who does that? Who does that? Who just opens up someone's car and gets in it at a car show? I think that's. I think there's certain etiquette in general, or manners, decency, or whatever you want to call it. Especially when you don't own something, do you just help yourself. I mean, I certainly wouldn't go to a model train show or railway show layouts, all that sort of thing. I certainly wouldn't want to go to any of them and then just help myself, as I'm sure there are people who do, just help myself to someone's layout, start just picking up pieces of it and lifting them around and lifting trains up and models and just going, oh yeah, you know, what are you doing? And oh, I'm reminiscing. I don't think you'd get away with that. I think there's a good chance you'd be kicked out of the show and you would be left very disappointed. Don't think you can get away with that. I mean, I could be wrong. What are your feelings on that? People, let me know. It just sounds very, very strange. Cut this next sprue. I'm going to have a sip of a drink because I'm starting to get a bit of a dry mouth and throat. Honestly, don't know if you can actually hear that music in the background. I will have to have a listen later on after this is finished. Hey, clean up the edges as we always do. Yes, so what is it now? It's February now, nearly into March. So I think it'll be car show season, sort of March into April. It'll be kicking off again. And suddenly my free time will be all gone. So when I'm not making models and I'm not dealing with children and their woes and such like, teenagers, or injuries even, with their injuries, I will be off car showing. I've produced a lot of key rings and magnets and cards and things like that for this year, and we'll be handing them out to people. We're not going to be charging people for them. We will be handing them out to people as they come and chat to us. So if you enter your cars and you see us out and about, come say hello. Remember, the Aidans channels cover Aidans Railways, Aidans Retro Rides, and the slot racing. Although we haven't done anything with the slot racing for ages, but we have been buying lots of the cars. In fact, the other day we just received the new Shaun the Sheep Land Rover and the Tim Burton Batmobile. One of my favourites, I would say, between the 1966 and the 1966 and the Tim Burton Batmobiles are my favourites. Not too keen on some of the later ones, really. Didn't really fire my rockets, I think is the only way of putting that. But those ones did. So we'll be looking out for any of you. Always come and say hello. Introduce yourself. We were at a car show last year. It was quite amusing. And young Aiden Jr. was, when I say Aiden Jr., young Aiden. He's not a junior or anything. He's massive. He was exercising, stimming, regulating, whatever you want to call it, and gentleman come up to him and approached him and says, "Oh, hello, Aidan, how are you?" And obviously Aidan, being in the spectrum, had absolutely no idea who this individual was, as I wouldn't have, and didn't know how to respond. And luckily we saw it and we were able to sort of get ourselves involved. The bloke was very apologetic. The problem is, and I think a lot of people experience this, people feel they know us personally on a personal level, as do many people who watch people on television and YouTube. They sort of become I don't know, it's almost like you know the individual. And obviously Aidan doesn't understand how that works. And it kind of threw him off. And we've got an interesting development here. No, we haven't. There we go. So if you do see us, come and say hello. But I would avoid walking straight up to young Aidan, as you may not get the response that you may be expecting, because he probably won't understand or realise why you've come up to him and started to ask him, well, how are you doing, and things like that. He won't. I don't think he will get it. It certainly was the case that day. We've got a lot of emails coming in. I can see in the background a lot of emails coming in. Many from the likes of Scale Electric and Corgi. Probably Corgi telling the office saying, "Why are you not making the Vauxhall Cavalier Mark 1? It's 50 years. If you ever had an opportunity to cash in on a particular vehicle, it would have been the Mark 1 Cavalier and the Chevette, because it's its 50th year, its 50th birthday." You've missed out on that one unless you're going to make a sudden announcement at the last minute. I think it's a bit late to suddenly be designing one now. We actually had the Yellow Cavalier being filmed not that long ago in a set of studios here in the northeast of England. Set of studios. That's where they wanted the vehicle anyway. That's where it was being filmed. New set of studios and on location for something special coming up last year. And we're not in it for the money. There was no charge. We didn't even accept a cup of coffee, I think. And we were offered. We were quite happy to assist them with what they needed vehicle-wise. Wait, I lie. They specifically wanted that car. They requested it. They were... Can't really go into much detail because of an embargo, but yeah, it'd be interesting when that surfaces this year. So actually quite sunny out there. I'm just looking outside through the windows as I'm building these. The good weather seems to be reappearing. It's that bit of year. It's that bit of the time of the year where it's quite deceptive. It can look really, really warm and sunny, and in actual fact, it's freezing cold but sunny. There's actually, I mean, there's lots of companies who 3D print these things, but £7 for all of this, I think, is an absolute bargain. And if you've been a friend of the channel for any amount of time, you will know that I love a good bargain. And actually, there's a lot of bargains behind me that have been purchased. And really, I need to get my finger out, get them videoed, introduce you all to them on the main channel. So if you're seeing this video, be aware that this is what we call the extras channel. It's where we do a bit more raw, a bit like this live. It's a bit more raw. It's not all about editing and stuff like this. This is as we do the models as it takes place, so to speak. And so if you want to watch some of the project builds that we've done in the past and the more edited up videos, pop over to our main channel. Look on the homepage for this channel and you will see the other channels that are there. And you've got to see the retro rides, you've got to see the Aidans Railways main channel and things like that. Click on the link and you can always subscribe and or have a binge watch. Some of the early videos I look back and cringe at now, when I was sort of finding my footing as to what I was doing. Didn't really know anything about editing and stuff like that back then in video anyway. Certainly didn't know what I was doing with the computer very much back then. And certainly not for YouTube. I didn't really understand YouTube back then. But I did want to share what I was doing. And then as the videos progressed, you can see how the quality and things like that improved over the years. So I'm going to move on to these. See, these are interesting. There's no instructions, mind, with this. I need to point this out. There is no instructions. So when it comes to these crates, I don't completely, it is just as far as I'm concerned, it's a case of gluing them together. When it comes down to these ones, at this end, well, no, I just, they're going to be interesting, but we'll do these ones first. One there that came off earlier, a bit Blue Peter style. Two, four, there's five there. All right. You have to be careful here because they're pallets, or at least they look like pallets. Now, what era are pallets? When were pallets introduced? I think this is a job for Google. We need to establish when pallets were produced so that we don't have them incorrectly placed on a layout time-wise. Because that just wouldn't make any sense, would it? When were pallets introduced? I mean, obviously pallets, fork trucks, pallet trucks, suppose, but maybe they were there beforehand, being used by something other than a pallet truck or forklift. I don't know. Do you know the answers to these questions and more? If you do, contact us in the chat. Send us a message, put a comment on the video, are you a historian of pallets? Maybe while I'm building this, you can get onto Google and have a look and find out and see if you can get the answer. Therapy of making models. So going back to the conversation earlier with people commenting on videos on the main channel and mainly the main channel, but some of the comments really are lovely, and sometimes I don't have the time to get back to everyone. It can be quite difficult. There's a huge amount going on all the time, and people share with me, they've been watching, whether they're happy with these videos, and obviously you always get the odd crank, don't get me wrong, you get the odd crank all the time, someone who's just out there to cause trouble. They usually find themselves hidden, they have no idea, but whatever fires their rockets. Anyway, people sharing with me, their stories. I've been watching your videos in hospital, I'm really enjoying them. I've just suffered, some sort of illness, and they're bringing a lot of joy to me. And to me, it's not something, it's not something I set out to do. It really isn't. And I won't lie, it feels good when I see those comments, and I think to myself, I'm so glad that I've brought you a bit of relief, helped you, get through something. We all go through illnesses, whether they be physical, mental, and such like. And if you've watched something, well, that's why you're watching these. You're sitting there just chilling out while I'm building these. I really appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate the interactions, comments, likes, your subscriptions, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's those comments, they do mean a lot. They really do. And sometimes when I do get the opportunity, and sometimes this can be right in the middle of the early hours of the, early hours at night, sometimes I get the opportunity to get back into those comments and reply. And I know some people say, well, it doesn't take too long to reply. Look, wait, you want to make sure you word things correctly for starters. And sometimes, those comments where, someone's, in serious illness and things like that, they can affect you. You can not start crying and bursting into tears, but it can affect you emotionally, and you're sort of like, how do you respond? How do you respond to what that individual has just said to me? But yeah, I will. If sometimes it can take quite a while for me to get back, because especially during the summer months, like I say, when we've got the car shows on. Car shows, model railway shows, steam galas, diesel galas. And in some cases, we're really lucky and we actually get both at the same time. We have visited a few car shows that have been held at railways. And when that happens, well, it's a double whammy, isn't it? I get to record for both channels. It's a bit of a double whammy. So far, we have produced model-wise here a number of beer kegs, cable drums, oil barrels, oil or fuel barrels, I don't know, sacks, be grain sacks or anything. And, well, now we're onto these wooden crates. I'm going to call them crates. Hey. Get all of that flash off there, right. That's not too bad at all. Certainly think these might come in useful on the Era 1 wagon roll and stock. Yes, we've got the Railways celebrating 300. Vauxhall Cavalier and Chevette celebrating 50. Such a lot going on this year. How are you all doing? Are you just joining us at this time during the live stream? I know we've been missing for a couple of days. Nothing we could do about it. Other commitments had to be dealt with. But we are here now. We are doing our thing. Don't forget to join us on Sunday this week for the big brick build. In this case, it is a big boy brick build. It must be about a meter long, Lego style. Absolutely looking forward to it, but I think I'm going to have some really tired eyes after looking for bricks and components all the way through it. It looks incredible, the images of this kit, and I'm looking so forward to the finished item, but I have no idea how long it's going to take us. Last week we built a Southern Pacific style mock build, burning tender locomotive. That looks, that looks incredible, I think. But this big boy, I think it's just going to blow it out the water. It's got to be about a meter long at least. So definitely going to be a different angle, I think, on the camera. I know that. Might have to do a side angled shot because it'll never fit in frame otherwise. It'll never fit in frame. So I actually quite like the look of these crates. I think they're going to look really good painted up. Get a wash on them. Get some definition on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 crates of that size anyway, and there's still more to go. Pallets, all these definitely look like bottles in wooden crates there. Time for a drink. Oh wow, let's have a look at these. Well, if I had to guess, I don't think I can. These, they've got to be, yeah, that's about 2 crates, but they're large ones, really big ones by the looks of it. So what I think I might do to avoid making a total hash up, build one at a time. Tell me if you are into your models, visiting the model shop and things like that. Tell me, do you go to the model shop and just go for a chat, bit of a social? I don't get the opportunity these days, but I know I used to. Put the world to rights, that sort of thing. I had a little bit of that yesterday when I went to pick up the new acquisition of the Daypol O-Gauge austerity in Longmoor military railway livery. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with that. So let's have a look. I see this as being one of these, although it doesn't necessarily look like it, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. Let's just bite the bullet. Bring these two together. Like so. Do this again. See if we can get you a little bit closer to the action here. And you can see things go wrong in high definition. And then, if I had to guess, I would say that then goes on there. Like so. If If you visit the channel homepage, you will also be able to see what all of the upcoming lives are going to be in advance, or when they're going to be. Try not to just drop everyone with a last minute live, although it does happen from time to time. It does happen from time to time, but it's not very often. And as we continue, and I know that first thing in the morning isn't really the best for everyone, but unfortunately it is one of the quieter times in the household and when I have more time to do things, but not always. We do have other commitments that can often take priority. I think almost certainly I'm going to have to look out for some more of this particular kit. I think what you receive on this kit really is value for money. I mean, obviously I'm not painting any of it yet. I'm just looking at the sheer quantity of what you receive from this kit, and to me, I would say this is definitely value for money. Definite value for money. And as I said, this is going to work out brilliant for both my Era 1 and the military line. Right. Nice good old wooden crates. Hey, next. So I know a lot of live streams in the model railway realm spend most of the time talking about, new releases, gossip. And I, however, I'm just building models. I think sometimes we might have a little bit of a live stream after a show and things like that. I bring up any purchases and that. Might do that on the main channel though, don't know. Could be a bit interesting. I tend to keep the lives over here, but I tell you what, is it nice? It's Friday, isn't it? It's Friday. It's nearly the end of the month. I've just twigged. So this is why emails keep flying in, which bear absolutely no relevance to me. And basically, you've got people getting paid end of the month, and then you've got shops, organisations, businesses chucking out emails left, right, and centre. because they're trying to make a sale. I've just realised why the email keeps setting off alarms there, and they're trying to get me to spend money. Well, good luck with that. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck with that. Don't see that actually happening in this case. I have so many items already, and many, many, many items on pre-order. Something does not look right about this one. I think I may have dropped a knacker there. Placed it in the wrong location. Easily rectified there. Let's bring them across. There we go. I dropped a knacker. So if you're from the States or somewhere else, not the UK, and you're wondering what dropping a knacker is, it basically means made a bit of a mistake. That's what it is. It's just like a slang. Slang that's not offensive. So there we go. You can hear movement outside the office, which can only mean one thing. Young Aidan is about and up to something. Something's not quite 100% with this one. It's probably got more to do with me than anything else. So I'm going to try and rescue it like that. Let's leave that one to dry itself and move on to the next. This, I think, is definitely value for money. This particular kit. I think you definitely get your money's worth from this set. You got to ask yourself, sometimes, do we get ripped off with some sets or not? Sometimes you can feel like you're paying a lot of money for very little. And, well, I think you definitely get your money's worth with this set. Hey! So while I was at the model shop yesterday, I had a quick chat with Nick while I was there. Sort of ask him how Eastfields was going and its current extension as well. I mean, it's a massive layout. It really is. But we're looking at organising a date again to go and visit, see what's been going on. I was last there, and hopefully you will be able to join me with that. Oh, I think I've just glued this to the bench. There we go. That was clever, wasn't it? This is an awful lot. So obviously this is a set here for 00 and HO, which makes me wonder, do they do one for N? Because I could be interested in one for N. I could be very, very, very much interested in one for N scale. Just going to adjust the mic there a little bit. Yes, I could definitely be interested in one of these for N scale for the layout. In fact, the N gauge layout that is currently being constructed, well, I can tell you now, all of this, I think, in N scale would be used. Absolutely all of it. I'm going to try and assemble this one slightly differently this time. Probably won't work, but I'm just curious to see if the assembly might go better. Probably not. Probably make a right pig's ear of it. I think I might have made a right pig's ear of it. Let's have a look. I think we should have stuck to what we knew. Although no, it's actually worked out okay. There we go. What do you know? Bring this up a little bit. There we go. The question is, for this last crate here, do we build it the way we have or the way we did it last? I don't think it matters. Oh, I know it's the end of the week, but I've just realised again that it's actually half term, isn't it? So many people will be out there doing stuff. Family days out. I can tell you now, Aidan has an injury, so we haven't been able to do a huge amount. We've been effectively playing nursemaid. Another crate. Wonderful. What have we got left on these sprues? Well, we've got, I'm assuming, our small trunks. I don't think I'm going to cut them off yet. We've got the pallets, and then we've got, and I don't know how well you can see this. I'm going to try. There's the pallets, and next to them, right here, these are what look like wooden crates with bottles in, and I think that's going to be a very fine job to paint. But I think that they may look absolutely brilliant when they're done. Over here, like I said, these look like what I can only describe as small trunks. They've got some sort of latches on them. The other side is basically mould, so they must sit this way up, or back to back even. Yeah, potentially could be glued back to back to make them. Yeah, I might do that. I don't know. Yeah, maybe glue them back to back. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is 20 there. That gives you 10 on each screw. That gives you 30 of them. Yeah, take them off and glue them back to back. Like I say, there's no instructions, which isn't a terrible thing. Most of it's been self-explanatory up to this point. I am curious whether these will look right glued up against each other or not. Do they look too big? I've just chucked one on the floor. Why have I done that? Why have I just chucked one on the floor? There we go. Let's get rid of these. So I can see the latches. They look better glued together. I mean, that's a lot of... The problem is, I think you've got to do something with them, because I think maybe... You know, they're going to end up glued together anyway, I think. Not all of them anyway. But in various different fashions. Whether it be like that. And other ways. So I'm going to look just to see how I could make variations with the stacking. But they are definitely individual cases. It's the only way to look at them. I'm a little lost with them. I don't want to commit on them yet. I'm going to cut the pallets off. I'm going to leave the bottles on, because the pallets can be painted. What they get used on is a different matter, but we haven't conducted our history program yet on the birthplace of pallets and their introduction into society. When were pallets? I mean, to be fair, these look like Euro pallets anyway, so they look quite modern. But when were pallets introduced into society? When did that happen? Here on the History Channel, we delve into the past and explain when the Euro pallet became commonplace in today's society. Maybe I should look into doing voiceover work. Oh, wow. Let's have a look at me kegs. Me kegs. You see me kegs there. There's a keg on top of me box there. You got me sacks. Could be coal sacks, could be grain sacks. Then we got oil drums. The oil drums and the cable drums. Not a bad kit. Let's have a look. Can you see them there? Yeah. It's a fair old bit. It's not bad for £7, is it? And like I say, we've still got more. We've got another 40 of these little chests and another 2, 4, 6, 8 of the crates with the bottles on there. I mean, that's not bad for £7. Really not bad. Now the next thing is going to be paint. The next thing is definitely going to be paint. And I'm just having a look. I think we're going to have to use a variety of things like desert yellow, number 26 khaki matte, maybe. Dark earth, which number is that? That's 29. Definitely looking at a 26. I can't remember what that actually is, colour-wise. As for the drums, I'm looking at something like olive green. I don't think they would have been in blue in the period that I'm looking at manufacturing or the layout anyway. Black, definitely think we might have had some in black there. What other colours have we got kicking around? Was it dark grey? Yeah, I think we could be looking at dark grey as well. Yeah. I think these are just blacks as well, aren't they? Gloss black, black satin. Would they have had a red drum? Oh, interesting. Northeast Ambulance Service. So yes, I think these bits here, not that. That is that's brass. I don't think we're going to be looking at that. I think we've got those paints here. Yeah. What else have we got? That might maybe is there. What's a 53? What is a 53? One of the numbers I haven't got written down on here. Let's have a double check. Let's use the Google. And we're going to have a look and see what a Humbrol 53. Humbrol 53 is apparently, let's just have a look. It's saying it is gunmetal metallic. I appear to have quite a lot of it, and I don't understand why. Oh, it's dark sea grey. Dark sea, yes, dark sea in matte. I actually have that in spray cans. Maybe that might get used. Not 100% sure, but at least we know what those are now. I might just, yeah, put that there to one side, ready for that. Well, ladies and gents, it is coming up to just over, wait, it's coming up to 1 hour and 50 minutes for this live. And I think we've built up these items here, and I think I'm going to put them to one side to dry it properly. Have a look at some images. I think we'll come back to paint these in the next episode. So if you're interested, this is Nightwing International, and it was PM 108 00 and HO products, crates, barrels, sacks, drums, packing cases, etc. In it is a triple pack at £7.75. Gotta admit, that is not a bad price. And that came from Down Trains of Stanley. No, I am not sponsored by them. It's just one of the places that I like to get my items from. So, thank you for joining me. I hope the sound's been a bit better. When we come to paint these next week, and we're also going to be looking at 3D printed pack of 4 cats. They're going to be tiny. We're going to be looking at Richard on the throne. Who we're gonna Richard on the toilet. Yes, we're gonna dealing with that and something else. If you're a lover of Only Fools and Horses, we've got the Reliant Robin and Batman and Robin outfits, and if you know what that is, then well, you're definitely good. As a fan of the series, I've just realised that while I'm chuntering on, I've also got these packing cases, the milk churns from the Daypol kits. They will all want to be painted, as in, the luggage. We've also got some of the trolleys that we assembled, which effectively you could have some of the items on as well. I'm not too bothered about those station parts, but yeah, see, so we have actually got plenty here to paint up on the next model making live. We'll be making waterside transfers as well for the Reliant Robin, so it will actually have Trotters Independent Traders written on the side and on the back doors. So join me next week for more model making live, and if you can't wait that long, obviously check out the other videos, but join me on Sunday as we build in bricks an American Big Boy, a 4884, and the tender alone it's a monster. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode.